The Guns of Navarone, 1961, is a timeless war epic that captivated audiences with its gripping story, intense action scenes, and unforgettable performances by a stellar cast. The film's powerful portrayal of bravery and sacrifice has made it a classic in cinema history. However, as the years have passed, many of the talented actors who brought these iconic characters to life have sadly passed away. In this video, we take a heartfelt look back at the lives and careers of the Guns of Navarone actors who have tragically died. Join us as we remember the stars who helped make this legendary movie unforgettable. Gregory Peck was born on April 5, 1916, and played Captain Keith Mallory in The Guns of Navarone, 1961, at age 45. His character was a stoic New Zealand mountaineer, calm under pressure but morally conflicted, bearing the psychological scars of war in silence. Though lauded as a Hollywood gentleman, Peck's image hid a far more tortured reality. His first marriage was riddled with infidelity. His affair with co-star Ingrid Bergman during Spellbound caused a scandal in Europe that was carefully buried by studio fixers. Despite his humanitarian image, colleagues often whispered about his controlling nature on set and his coldness off-screen, especially toward female co-stars. He reportedly clashed with directors, insisting on script rewrites to preserve his image. Behind the scenes, his perfectionism alienated friends, and he was said to maintain a distant relationship with his children, particularly after his son Jonathan died by suicide in 1975, a tragedy he rarely spoke of. Peck died on June 12, 2003, at the age of 87, from cardiorespiratory arrest and bronchial pneumonia. Anthony Quinn was born on April 21, 1915, and at 46 played Colonel Andrea Stavros, a passionate Greek resistance fighter driven by revenge. Quinn was a force of nature, on screen and off. Behind his charismatic performances lay a tangled web of excess and scandal. He fathered 13 children by multiple women, including secret affairs that led to public paternity battles, one as late as his 70s. His long marriage to Catherine DeMille, daughter of Cecil B. DeMille, was devastated by his relentless cheating, including with actress Jolanda Adalori, who became his second wife. Quinn was sued for palimony by his secretary and faced tabloid storms for his explosive temper and rumored physical abuse. On set, he was notoriously difficult, often clashing with directors and refusing to take direction unless his ego was stroked. Despite his Oscar wins, his reputation was tainted by stories of manipulation and egotism. Quinn died on June 3, 2001, at the age of 86 due to complications from throat cancer and respiratory failure. David Niven, born March 1, 1910, played Corporal John Anthony Miller in 1961 at the age of 51, a witty, haunted explosives expert masking his trauma behind sarcasm. Niven's public charm belied a personal life tinged with scandal and sorrow. The suicide of his first wife, Primula, in a freak accident at Tyrone Power's house deeply traumatized him, though he rarely spoke of it. His second marriage to Swedish model Jordis Genberg was a toxic, decades-long ordeal marred by infidelity, emotional distance, and her long-term alcoholism. Rumors swirled of Niven's own affairs and a sharp tongue that turned vicious when drunk. His memoirs, The Moon's a Balloon and Bring on the Empty Horses, painted a sanitized version of events. Close friends noted that he glossed over the emotional wreckage he left behind. In his final years, Niven suffered from ALS and was reportedly humiliated by his deteriorating speech. He died on July 29, 1983, at the age of 73 from complications related to the disease. Stanley Baker was born February 28, 1928, and played the brutal, brawling CPO Butcher Brown in The Guns of Navarone at 33. A working-class hero in British cinema, Baker's real-life path was riddled with demons. Known for his hard-drinking, chain-smoking persona, he embodied the angry young man archetype long after it was fashionable. His volatile behavior on set, allegedly showing up drunk or disappearing for days, led to missed roles in studio bans. Behind closed doors, his marriage to Ellen Martin was punctuated by affairs and violent arguments, and he was rumored to have ties to underworld figures during his time as a film producer. His financial downfall in the 1970s was swift and humiliating. His investment in a film company collapsed, leaving him in debt and disgrace. Diagnosed with lung cancer, Baker refused chemotherapy until it was too late. He died painfully on June 28, 1976, at just 48 years old, from lung cancer and pneumonia. James Darren was born on June 8, 1936, and portrayed Spiros Papademos in the Guns of Navarone in 1961, at the age of 25. Spiros was a young, volatile Greek resistance fighter driven by fury and pride, whose tragic death underscored the cost of war and youthful fervor. Off-screen, Darren's all-American teen idol image concealed deeper frustrations. Though he rose quickly through the studio system, he resented being typecast as the pretty boy and battled years of professional stagnation. Despite his smooth public persona, he privately struggled with imposter syndrome and envy toward peers who secured more substantial roles. His transition from acting to music was born not of passion but desperation to stay relevant. His first marriage to Gloria Terlitsky ended bitterly, largely due to his absence and emotional distance, and his relationship with his son was strained for decades. Darren died on September 2, 2024, from congestive heart failure at the age of 88. Anthony Quail, born September 7, 1913, was 48 when he portrayed the noble Major Roy Franklin, a character physically wounded but morally upright. In contrast, Quail's private life was layered with secrecy. Though widely respected as a Shakespearean actor, he was long rumored to live a double life. Whispers in theatrical circles suggested covert affairs with both men and women, scandalous for the era, and that his carefully curated public marriage was a cover for deeper personal complexities. He had a reputation for being aloof, even arrogant, using his war hero status to silence critics. While never caught in open scandal, Quail was privately viewed as emotionally distant, even from his children. His time in British intelligence during World War II was something he rarely discussed, and some biographers hinted at missions that left him haunted. Despite a veneer of control, Quail reportedly battled depression in later years, worsened by cancer diagnoses. He died from liver cancer on October 20, 1989, aged 76, a man many respected but few truly understood. Irene Papas was born on September 3, 1929, and played Maria Papademos in the film at age 32. In real life, Papas was fierce, enigmatic, and unapologetically political, a defiance that cost her dearly. Though celebrated for her dramatic prowess, she was blacklisted in parts of Europe during the 1967 to 1974 Greek military junta for her outspoken opposition, which led to surveillance and professional sabotage. Her rumored decades-long affair with composer Mikis Theodorakis remained a source of speculation, clouded in secrecy and guilt. Despite critical acclaim, Papas was not universally beloved among her peers. She was known to dominate sets, allegedly refusing direction and causing tension with male leads who found her intimidating. She never married officially, but was linked to multiple married men, prompting quiet whispers about her breaking up families. As Alzheimer's disease progressed in her final years, Papas was reclusive and rarely seen in public, with reports suggesting she became deeply paranoid. She died on September 14, 2022, aged 93, from complications of the disease. James Robertson Justice was born on June 15, 1907, and appeared in the Guns of Navarone as Jensen, the stiff-lipped British intelligence officer, at age 54. A compulsive liar, he fabricated elaborate tales of aristocratic lineage and exotic adventures, even claiming to be a baron. In truth, he was born James Norval Harold Justice, the son of a Scottish mill worker. His blustering persona masked a deep insecurity and an insatiable need for validation. Justice squandered his fortune on luxury, falconry, in an obsessive, ruinous attempt to live like landed gentry. His only son's death in a tragic accident devastated him. Justice reportedly never recovered emotionally and began drinking heavily. He was blacklisted temporarily in British cinema after an on-set tirade involving a fistfight with a director and was sued for breach of contract more than once. He married his second wife just days before his death, prompting speculation about financial motivations. He died from complications of a stroke on July 2, 1975, at age 68. Gia Scala, born March 3, 1934, played the tormented Anna, a mute Greek partisan with a haunting secret, at age 27. Her character's silence mirrored the darkness in her own life, a life that spiraled from promise to tragedy. Scala, with her luminous beauty and accent that studio heads tried to Americanize, was relentlessly groomed into a starlet but crumbled under the pressure. Despite early success, including roles opposite Hollywood giants, she clashed with producers over being sexualized on screen. A rocky marriage to Don Burnett quickly turned toxic, marked by rumors of infidelity, screaming matches, and at least one domestic violence incident. Following a miscarriage, Scala descended into alcoholism and prescription drug dependency. Her increasingly erratic behavior led to her dismissal from multiple sets, including a lost lead role in a major war film. Arrested for public intoxication in 1969 and later institutionalized briefly, she faded into obscurity, living in a Hollywood Hills home in disrepair. On April 30, 1972, she was found dead from a combination of alcohol and sleeping pills at 38. Richard Harris was born October 1, 1930, and played Squadron Leader Barnsby in the film at age 31, delivering a performance that crackled with sarcasm and insubordination. Known for legendary binges, he drank so heavily during the 1960s that directors had to film around his blackouts. He was arrested multiple times for disorderly conduct, and stories abound of drunken fights in hotels, airports, and even on film sets. His marriage to Elizabeth Rees Williams was a whirlwind of love, betrayal, and furious arguments. She eventually left him, citing his unmanageable volatility. Their children, including actor Jared Harris, reportedly endured a childhood of emotional instability. Harris often alienated co-stars with cruel pranks and savage barbs, once telling a female co-star she wouldn't have a career if not for her cleavage. Diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease in 2002, Harris dismissed treatment, famously saying, "I don't fear death, I just don't want to be there when it happens." He died on October 25, 2002, at the age of 72. Tute Lemko, born August 28, 1918, appeared as Nikolai in the Guns of Navarone in 1961 when he was 43. The character was enigmatic and slithery, aiding the resistance with cunning agility. Lemko's eccentricity wasn't just a quirk, it was a shield. Behind his quirky on-screen persona lay a troubled soul obsessed with occult rituals and prone to terrifying his co-stars with prophetic dreams. Though married twice, both unions ended with bitterness and allegations of emotional cruelty. His marriage to Mai Zetterling imploded after he was caught having an affair with a male ballet student in Paris, a scandal quietly buried due to the era's homophobia. Lemko was infamous for sabotaging co-stars' performances with unplanned choreography that veered into chaos. Rumors swirled that he faked illness to avoid military service and that he once bit a director during a rehearsal. He died mysteriously on November 10, 1991, at 73, with the cause never disclosed, sparking speculation among former colleagues. Brian Forbes, born July 22, 1926, played the role of Cone in the Guns of Navarone in 1961 at the age of 35. Though Cone was a minor character, his grounded presence symbolized the quiet grit of the Allied effort. Behind the camera, Forbes was a celebrated figure, yet his public persona masked years of private torment. He was embroiled in an explosive fallout during the Stepford Wives, clashing bitterly with William Goldman in a feud riddled with personal insults and sabotage allegations. Few knew that Forbes, diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1975, concealed the illness for years out of fear it would end his directing career. His marriage to actress Nanette Newman appeared idyllic, but rumors swirled of long separations and an affair during his U.S. tenure. On set, he had a reputation for being controlling, often accused of undermining actors he viewed as threats. Later in life, he was quietly blacklisted by some studios for perceived arrogance. Forbes died on May 8, 2013, at the age of 86, after a prolonged illness that many suspected was not only physical but compounded by long-standing professional isolation. Alan Cuffbertson, born April 7, 1920, stepped into the role of Major Baker in 1961 at the age of 41, portraying a stiff officer wrapped in layers of condescension and red tape. Cuthbertson's on-screen authority mirrored his real-life rigidity. Though never caught in scandal, whispers haunted him. He was known for lashing out at junior crew members, often humiliating them publicly during rehearsals. A reclusive intellectual, he distanced himself from Hollywood social circles, and some speculated he lived a double life. One fellow actor even hinted at a secret relationship with a male playwright that ended in scandal and exile from London's theatre scene. His aloof nature bred rumors of deep-seated bitterness over being pigeonholed into one-note roles. Once slated for a leading role in a BBC drama, he was quietly dropped after reports surfaced of hostile behavior toward the director's assistant. Cuthbertson died from coronary artery disease on February 8, 1988, aged 67, his final years marked by solitude and regret. Walter Gotel was born on March 15, 1924, and played Musil in the Guns of Navarone, 1961, at the age of 37. In the film, Musil was a steely and unflinching Nazi officer, exuding a quiet menace that heightened every scene he was in. Gotel built a solid career with his recurring role as General Gogol in the James Bond franchise, yet the industry always kept him boxed in as the foreign villain. What few know is that off-camera, Gotel battled deep personal loneliness. A failed marriage and estrangement from his only child haunted him, and his obsessive focus on work masked a dependency on sleeping pills and quiet alcoholism that worsened with age. He was notorious for icy silences on set and once physically shoved a co-star during a Bond shoot, prompting a quiet settlement with the studio. Behind his calm facade was a man quietly unraveling, known to send threatening letters to journalists who speculated on his health. Walter Gotel died of cancer on May 5, 1997, at the age of 73. Michael Trubshaw, born December 7, 1905, was 56 when he played Weaver in the Guns of Navarone, a background role that nonetheless carried quiet weight. Known publicly as a gentleman and confidant to David Niven, Trubshaw's carefully curated image concealed shadows. His military service was often exaggerated, with insiders suggesting he embellished his wartime credentials to win roles in post-war cinema. He reportedly borrowed heavily from Niven's reputation, using their friendship to land roles and curry favor in elite social circles. Trubshaw was involved in a quiet scandal in the late 1960s when a young actress claimed he had used his influence for inappropriate advances during casting, though it was buried by mutual friends in the industry. He also battled chronic depression, retreating from acting for several years after a breakdown triggered by rejection from the Royal Shakespeare Company. He died on March 21, 1985, at age 79, from undisclosed causes, leaving behind a legacy more fragile than it first appeared. George Michael, born April 4, 1929, portrayed the calculating Sessler at age 32, a steely-eyed Nazi officer who left an icy imprint on the film. Behind his villainous facade on screen, Michael harbored deep complexities. A Lithuanian émigré, he fought tooth and nail for recognition in a UK film industry that often reduced him to enemy stereotypes. Though he appeared disciplined and professional, insiders recalled moments of chilling emotional detachment. A troubled love affair with a German actress ended with her public suicide attempt, which tabloids hinted was triggered by Michael's callous treatment. He was a heavy smoker and known to manipulate roles behind closed doors, once reportedly threatening a co-star's visa renewal if they didn't back out of a part. Despite no formal scandal, whispers of his behind-the-scenes power plays and psychological coldness followed him. Michael died on May 12, 2020, at the age of 91, from natural causes, but left behind an enigmatic and unsettling legacy few dared to probe. Percy Herbert, born July 31, 1920, took on the role of Sergeant Grogan in 1961 at age 41, embodying the grizzled, working-class war veteran with clenched fists and simmering rage. Off-screen, Herbert lived with the ghosts of World War II, having survived imprisonment by the Japanese, a trauma that haunted his every performance. While he was often cast for his authenticity, it came at a cost. He was locked in a cycle of violent, angry roles that mirrored his volatile temper. Known to drink heavily between takes, Herbert once physically threatened a co-star during filming, forcing the production to briefly shut down. His marriage dissolved amid rumors of infidelity and a gambling problem that left him nearly bankrupt by the 1970s. His son later described him as impossible to live with during his worst years. He had no industry allies by the time of his death from a heart attack on December 6, 1992, at the age of 72, just a fading memory in a world that had moved on. Victor Bulmont was born on November 7, 1912 and portrayed a German officer in the Guns of Navarone in 1961 at the age of 49. His character exuded cold authority, a silent sentinel within the enemy stronghold, embodying the disciplined brutality of the Nazi machine. But Beaumont's real-life persona was far from clean-cut. Born in Berlin as Peter Wolf, he fled Hitler's regime but was later suspected of being a wartime informant while living in Britain, rumors he never addressed publicly. His film career often saw him typecast as the villain, yet insiders whispered about his growing bitterness over never landing a lead. He reportedly clashed with directors, once storming off set over what he called insulting scraps for a real actor. His marriage crumbled early, allegedly due to infidelity with a younger co-star during his London theatre days. Friends said he battled chronic insomnia and was haunted by guilt over a brother who died in the Holocaust. Victor Beaumont died on March 21, 1977 at age 64 from undisclosed causes. Christopher Rhodes, born April 30, 1914, took on the role of the German gunnery officer in the Guns of Navarone in 1961 at age 47. Though a small part, his presence was chilling, stoic and mechanical. Off-camera, Rhodes was a walking contradiction, a decorated war hero with medals from both Allied and French governments, yet privately known for violent outbursts and a sadistic streak. Former castmates whispered of his cruel sense of humor and habit of shooting birds for sport between takes. His noble background couldn't protect him from the shame of a sexual harassment allegation by a stage actress in 1957, which was dismissed but lingered. A known womanizer, he fathered at least 3 children out of wedlock, all denied in public but acknowledged through hush payments. His marriage dissolved in scandal after his wife discovered Rhodes had been living a double life with a 19-year-old actress. Christopher Rhodes died under vague circumstances on June 22, 1964, at age 50, with many suspecting a suicide masked as undisclosed causes. Robert Reedi was born on February 8, 1923 and voiced the German lines for Mallory in the Guns of Navarone in 1961 when he was 38. His voice lent an eerie credibility to the role, quietly unsettling, an unseen ghost of Nazi resolve. Reedi, though famous in the industry as the man of 1,000 voices, lived a life far stranger than fiction. A child star in fascist Italy, he later became a British intelligence officer during World War II, with rumors persisting that he partook in covert psyops and propaganda. Though publicly devout, friends whispered that he led a double life, engaging in secretive liaisons with young protégés whom he mentored obsessively. His perfectionism bordered on cruelty. One dubbing assistant described him as a genius wrapped in ice. Reedi had a long, troubled relationship with his father, an opera singer who disowned him for abandoning stage performance for dubbing work, something Robert never forgave. Despite his enormous contribution to film, he died on April 3, 2015 at age 92, from undisclosed causes. Gerald Hines was born on January 2, 1904 and portrayed a German surgeon in the Guns of Navarone in 1961 at age 57. Calm, surgical, and precise, his character was the chilling embodiment of medical detachment and service of evil. Off-screen, Hines's life was a storm masked by grace. A Jewish refugee from Hamburg, he was arrested in Britain during World War II as an enemy alien and sent to an internment camp in Canada, where he reportedly suffered breakdowns and attempted suicide. Though he resumed acting, the psychological scars ran deep. His marriage to actress Mary Kenton was marked by separation and rumored affairs, including with a male playwright, which was scandalous for the time. He was known for being charming in public but volatile in private, once smashing a whiskey bottle during a BBC radio taping. His career stalled in the late 60s amid rumors of a drinking problem and his increasing paranoia about communist surveillance. Gerald Hines died on November 20, 1972 at age 68, from undisclosed causes, his final years largely forgotten by the industry that once praised him. Who is your favorite character in the Guns of Navarone? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.